What the hell happened? Part 21. In the last part, I went over the day Jezebel left and how that day unfolded. And now I'm going to go over, I guess, that night. I'm pretty sure it was that night. It might have been the night after. But anyway, at this point, my wife Delilah has been with her parents taking care of her grandmother for about 3 months. And all of this happens. I try to process what happened, and basically I've been talking back and forth with Delilah at least once a week. So I call her up and I'm like, so you might not realize this, but Jezebel has left and taken everything. And her response is, oh yeah, I know. And I'm like, what do you mean you know? And she basically said she's known about it for a while, that this was the plan, and that, yeah. And I'm just like, what do you mean you knew? You didn't just call me up and say, hey, there's issues or anything? Well, I guess we had enough of a marriage problem that she was, yeah, not talking to me about this stuff. So it became pretty obvious to me at that point that I really didn't have a wife in a lot of ways. Like when you're with somebody, it's supposed to be the two of you moving forward. And even if there's issues, there's still supposed to be some kind of a connection, especially if you said we need to work out and resolve these issues. Well, it's pretty much just like a betrayal. You know something's going to happen, it's going to affect the other one negatively, and you just keep it under wraps. So finding that out, and part of the reason why I told the entire history in the past 20 plus videos is because all of this just brought up the previous betrayal, all the affairs and all this, secrets and everything else. Like it just all hit all over again. So that day pretty much ends. The next couple days begin. I'm not totally sure everything that happened, but basically I just started wondering what to do. And I know I went to the store and bought random food because I was going to be, just in charge of feeding myself, and a bunch of stuff was missing and all that. Ended up, they reached out to me. By they, I mean this group of five-ish people, somewhat regularly. Usually one of them would reach out once a day. And just like, hey, we're here for you if you need anything. We're here to be your support group. And basically, after a couple days, I'm just like, well, like, how did I screw up? I need to like make stuff right. Need to figure out what's going on, what the actual plan is going forward. And I ended up reaching out to Ananias, who was very much at the front of wanting to be talked to. And I talked to him, and he basically told me, like, you've obviously got great issues, but you're really lucky because you're on a mountain and you can, it's just you on the mountain. Tons of people would love to be like that. You can cry out to your creator and figure out what you did wrong. Like, he wasn't going to tell me what I did wrong. So he's like, but if you want us to help you, I'd love to do that. Love to do counseling with you. Meanwhile, of course, these people are not qualified to do any kind of professional counseling, but nonetheless, he was willing to do counseling with me. And so I'm like, all right, let's do this. So I'm there basically praying every day. I literally went outside, covered myself in an ancient tarp, put ashes from the wood stove down and laid in it. Like, how can I absolutely humble myself as much as possible before my creator and see if I can get him to tell me what is wrong with me. And so in the meantime, Ananias is thrilled that I'm willing to, and I'll never forget the term. He's like, I'm glad that you're willing to submit to the brotherhood. That's just a phrase that just doesn't strike me right. But anyway, I was going along with it. It was really weird to me. It's this whole like group, and they're almost all Mennonites except for this couple. So anyway, talking back and forth with them, I end up praying, trying to figure out what's wrong with me, going back. And I remember every time I'm on the ground, like just praying and come back up, that like there's nothing that I can come up with, because I had just spent the whole 3 months prior to this doing exactly that, like just trying to search myself and find anything that I was doing wrong and make corrections. So like I've already been doing this, and so I'm just not coming up with anything else. I just keep coming up, and I just keep thinking of Job. And if any of you are religious, Job is a man in the Bible who lost everything, and his friends eventually came to him and told him, you've not done right things, pray to God and, confess everything that's wrong, or ask him to tell you what you've done wrong, so that, you've obviously done something wrong for all this bad to happen to you. And then I'm second guessing myself. I'm like, this is wishful thinking. Like I'm like Job, right? Like it's just, of course I'm sitting here thinking I'm like Job, and I'm like, I just kept dismissing it every time. A couple days of this go by, and eventually I'm talking with Ananias and Sapphira, that couple, and I'm talking to both of them. And they basically, Sapphira suggests, well, because they're like, you have to reconcile with your wife first. Like, get your wife figured out. I'm like, okay, that's cool. So Delilah and I need to work on stuff. That's great. They're like, they told me to write a letter to her, and just say, how much I love her, and, just all this stuff. So I sit down, I'm like, I can follow this, write a letter, send it out to her. She was unaware of it. She gets it. She's thrilled. She talks with me on the phone, and that's kind of whatever, like nothing significant. Couple more days go by, and I am getting, they're hitting me with more stuff. So they're basically saying, hey, we're gonna tell these people, these people, just this list of people that, hey, this is, Jezebel has left, and they're just telling them, and we've got close relationships and everything, and like basically I found out later they were just telling everybody that Jezebel left. Nate is a bad person, and they wouldn't say anything other than Nate's just a bad person. He's a bad dude. And so in turn they reached out to probably almost everyone they knew that I knew, and basically said for them to contact me, or at least I think they did, because tons of people were just all of a sudden reaching out to me and, hey, we're here for you. And from my perspective, it's like all these people know what it is and how horrible of a person I am, and nobody's telling me like what I did, what the deal is, any of it. So it was just bizarre, but I felt bombarded by like 30 people all against me, and nobody for me at all. So then Ananias and Sapphira, along with Nabal, my brother, and Delilah, my wife, they all decide they're going to do a video calls with me, and we're going to do video counseling, and just try to get me and my wife talking, and them supervising or whatever. And we have one practice session to make sure all the equipment's set up and everything's working okay and whatnot. And everything's good. We're going to start in the next couple days. Then over the next few days are particularly hard on me, because I'm just not confessing stuff. Like I am just not like pouring out and just saying, I've done this wrong, I've done that wrong. And they get frustrated with me. And basically Nabal sends me a text and just says, we're not going to be doing this group counseling thing anymore. We're not going to do it. And just boom, just like that. Cut off, no more communication. And I'm just basically, I felt like they kind of teased me with, hey, we'll get you and your wife back together and we'll all be friends. And then I didn't say the things they wanted me to say, and so they found a new way to punish me, was to remove the communication with my wife. At this point, we're about 2 weeks after Jezebel left, and all this stuff started happening, and I got frustrated. I got heated. I'm like, this is just crap. All these people. I'm familiar with both of the two religious ideas between all these members, and I go and make a big message with all kinds of stuff on it. Just like, hey, you're not doing Matthew 18, you claim to believe all this stuff, and you're not doing any of it. And I'm out of time. Next part.